Olha-me só para isto. Olha-me só para isto.
A calm morning along the southern coast of Portugal shifted suddenly into a scene of violent destruction as a powerful wind event struck the seaside town of Albufeira. Just after 10 o'clock, skies that appeared harmless only moments earlier turned unstable, and a rotating column of air formed near a busy tourist district. Within minutes, buildings that had stood for years collapsed, vehicles overturned, and families on holiday faced a moment of fear none of them expected. Meteorological officials later described the winds as highly consistent with a tornado and the kind of rapid and concentrated vortex rarely seen in this part of the country. The impact began near a large camping area that sits close to several hotels and vacation complexes. Guests inside small mobile homes reported hearing a deep rumbling sound followed by a sudden pressure shift as the vortex approached. Around 11 o'clock, the rotating winds touched down with full force. Bungalows were crushed instantly. Roof panels lifted into the air. Glass shattered across courtyards. Cars that had been parked beside the resort entrance flipped onto their sides as if weightless. Within a short stretch of time, a quiet coastal retreat transformed into a landscape of debris and twisted metal. Wind speed indicators in the area were damaged almost immediately, but early assessments from the National Meteorological Service point to a highly concentrated burst of rotating wind, strengthened by warm coastal air and unstable atmospheric layers feeding the system. Observers described trees ripping from the ground balconies torn away from hotel walls and entire rows of lightweight structures reduced to fragments. Inside the camping park, one bungalow collapsed with such force that an elderly British woman aged 85 lost her life. Emergency teams later confirmed that 2 people suffered serious injuries, while more than 20 others received treatment for wounds caused by flying objects, collapsing structures, or broken glass. At the adjoining hotel, 19 guests were hurt when pressure changes blew out windows and scattered debris along hallways. As the wind moved across the resort, people ran into open areas for safety. Some guests rushed down stairwells filled with shards of glass. Others sheltered behind concrete walls, while fragments of roofing and outdoor furniture flew across the property. Families carrying small children moved quickly as ceilings buckled and decorative facades fell from upper floors. Several visitors from Portugal, Spain, and the United Kingdom were among the injured according to official reports. Firefighters reached the affected zone minutes after the initial calls. Crews navigated through narrow paths blocked by overturned vehicles and fallen trees. Teams moved from one collapsed mobile home to another, checking for anyone trapped beneath debris. High-risk areas were cordoned off as structural engineers began assessing the most unstable buildings. Ambulances transported the seriously injured to nearby medical centers, while on-site medics treated cuts and impact wounds. The mayor of Albufeira arrived shortly after the first rescue teams. Local authorities offered condolences to the family of the woman who died and promised full support to those who lost accommodation. Workers began reinforcing weakened walls, clearing shattered glass from walkways, and creating temporary passage routes so that rescue teams could continue their inspections. Tourist assistance centers were set up to help visitors replace documents, relocate to alternate lodgings, and contact relatives abroad. This destructive event occurred during a period of unsettled weather across several countries. Meteorologists linked the incident to a broader system identified as Storm Claudia, which has been affecting Portugal, Spain, and the United Kingdom. The storm brought a mixture of warm marine air, rapid vertical atmospheric movement, and strong wind shear, the combination that can produce rotating columns of air capable of causing extreme local damage. Along the wider Algarve region, authorities recorded nearly 400 weather-related incidents, including localized flooding, roof failures, and tree collapses. In the hours following the tornado-like strike, images from the scene showed twisted support pillars, shattered windows, extending across entire hotel wings, and mobile homes crushed into unrecognizable shapes. Pools were filled with debris, and roads leading to the resort were partially blocked by fallen branches and fragments of metal siding. Several power lines were damaged, leaving portions of the area without electricity until crews could safely restore service. Nearby businesses suspended operations while emergency teams continued their work. Small shops near the beachfront closed temporarily due to broken windows and structural concerns. Local restaurants sheltered guests until conditions stabilized and authorities confirmed that the strongest winds had moved out of the immediate zone. Residents in surrounding neighborhoods reported hearing the sound of objects striking buildings and described a brief period in which visibility dropped sharply as dust and debris filled the air. As recovery operations expanded, structural engineers examined the integrity of multi-level buildings. Some facades remained at risk of further collapse, and several stairwell areas were declared unsafe. Rescue workers searched every damaged structure to ensure no additional victims were trapped. Tourist agencies coordinated transportation for visitors whose accommodations were destroyed, helping them relocate to unaffected towns across the region. Meteorological officials emphasized that severe wind events can form quickly along coastal zones during autumn and winter. Warm sea temperatures combined with incoming cold fronts increase the likelihood of strong atmospheric instability. Officials stated that the probability of a tornado forming under these conditions was very high, and the rotation signatures detected earlier that morning confirmed the likelihood of a concentrated vortex. Across the Algarve, emergency dispatch centers remained active throughout the day. Calls included reports of flooded basements, damaged roofs, and fallen trees blocking rural roads. Crews worked continuously to reopen access routes and restore essential services. Electricity providers deployed teams to repair damaged lines, while municipal workers focused on clearing debris from main roads to allow supply trucks and medical vehicles to move freely. Hotel managers in Albufeira issued statements urging guests to follow official safety instructions, especially those staying in lightweight or temporary structures. Several resorts began reviewing their emergency plans, including designated safe rooms, evacuation protocols, and communication systems for weather alerts. Camping grounds across the region were advised to reinforce anchoring systems for mobile units and to ensure that guests receive timely updates during periods of unstable weather. Local authorities also highlighted the need for increased awareness among tourists visiting coastal regions during storm season. Many visitors are unfamiliar with the speed at which severe wind events can develop. Officials stressed that even areas known for calm and pleasant weather can experience violent shifts when atmospheric conditions align. As crews cleared the last large fragments of debris, Albufeira entered the early stages of recovery. Families returned to collect belongings from damaged units whenever conditions allowed. Some travelers chose to cut their holidays short, while others relocated to nearby towns until repairs could be made. Community groups began organizing support for those affected, offering temporary supplies, transportation, and translation assistance for foreign visitors. The emotional impact of the event remains significant. Witnesses described a sudden and overwhelming force that left little time to react. For many, the sound of collapsing structures and breaking glass will remain etched in memory long after the physical damage is repaired. Counselors and support lines were made available for residents and tourists who experienced trauma during the event. Authorities caution that weather conditions may continue to fluctuate in the coming days. Residents and visitors are encouraged to monitor official forecasts and avoid staying in structures that are not reinforced. Emergency coordination centers remain active to provide guidance and assistance while the region recovers. Albufeira now faces the long process of rebuilding. Damaged buildings will require detailed inspection, and infrastructure repairs may extend over several weeks. Even after the physical environment is restored, the community will continue to address the emotional and economic effects of the disaster. The sudden event serves as a reminder that nature can change quickly and that preparedness is essential even in peaceful holiday destinations, where severe weather seems unlikely.